Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. Happy Sunday.
We are at full capacity. We have a total of 10 people here this morning. We're like, yay! We're building. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
I'm
Good
glad
to see
you're
you.
here.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. I'm grateful that you decided to take your time to spend with us this morning and just share these moments, because we are one. You know, we are one. When we spend these moments together and we filter out everything else in our minds, we are one with this moment, with this experience, with the people around us and what we're feeling. So welcome. My name is Marypatriece Raupp. I am the spiritual leader here.
And I'm Reverend Tom, and I'm just so glad to be here with you and share this Sunday morning with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Welcome again. So let's begin with a prayer. Let's take a deep breath. Open into this moment, welcoming in the spirit, the life, the God source that is all around us, in us, and moves through us. We open ourselves to be the channel of life, the channel of good, the channel of unlimited potential. In these moments, we bring to mind any thoughts or feelings that we may have started the day off with. And we celebrate the ones that we want to continue in, and we bless the ones that we'd like to release. Thank you, God, for the power to do that, the power that makes us glow and grow. Thank you for the power to choose to be one with this moment, be one with those around us, or the idea or the vision that we have inside of us. We're so grateful for all of these things. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
So, what shall we do now?
Why don't we do the 5 unity principles?
There you go.
As is our custom on a Sunday morning.
Let's do it.
Okay. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good omnipotence. The Christ Spirit lives within me. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. I experience God's presence and power through prayer and meditation. I put my faith into action by demonstration.
Very good. And you know that Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock, we say this each week, we're more spiritual than religious. Mm-hmm. We believe that there's a power within you that is guiding you in every moment. That there's a still small voice that is ready to lift you to the next level of being and expressing and sharing the good in you.
Yeah, I think that that oneness extends not only to those who we are in contact with on a regular basis, but those too who have been in our lives and maybe have gone on, and maybe those we're expecting to come into our lives. I don't know, and but I have to say I just want to say, we have some great signs out in front of our church now.
We
that
do.
Talk about being more spiritual than religious.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you all come back to see it. And I don't know, I'm just so proud of what you're doing here.
Do you want to say why we have the signs out there? I mean, you kind of gave a teaser a little bit there.
Oh, do you mean Pride Day today?
Yeah.
We are celebrating Pride Day today, and Woodstock is having a promenade. Is that what it's called?
Yep, Pride Promenade.
Okay, so people will be driving by and celebrating, and we'll be celebrating the day with them. And in fact, June is Pride Month, and it has been our tradition to celebrate Pride Month, and this year we need to do it a little differently than we have in the past.
We're just being safe, but we're also still sharing the moment and still sharing that oneness. It doesn't mean that you have to be connected. The only way you can be connected is if you're close up to each other. You can be connected in an idea and a vision and a choice of what you want to create too.
And connected in a goal too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So if at all you find that this message today really resonates or speaks to your heart, we invite you to consider sending a contribution our way. You can go to unitywoodstock.org and go down to the Joy of Giving, and every gift is much appreciated. In fact, there are often times that people that don't come to our church normally that have been making donations, and we want to send out a really big heartfelt thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
It really means so much for us to be able to continue to give these messages and to be able to be here and show up for the vision that we have for not just ourselves but our community. So we get to now turn it back over to Lori. Yay! Okay, you want to yeah, just act excited when we come back, all right?
This song is called All the Good. It's by Jana Stanfield. I cannot do all good that the world needs, but the world needs all good that I can do. I cannot do all good that the world needs, but the world needs all good that I can do. I cannot give all the love that the world needs, but the world needs all the love that I can give. I cannot give all the love that the world needs, but the world needs all the love that I can give. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. How can I do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do? I cannot give all the love that the world needs, but the world needs all the love that I can give. Ooh,
Thank you, Lori. Lori Gray Mulligano. She is one of our anchors here for our music program. She's amazing.
You know, you talk about oneness and connectedness, and doesn't music create a oneness and a
Absolutely.
connectedness that goes beyond description? Sure does for
In
me.
fact, many times I may connect back with a memory in my life
Yeah.
because of a song, right?
Yeah.
You too?
Absolutely. Yes.
So yeah, we are all one, and we are all one as a spirit, as people. We are all one, but we're also one with emotions. We're one with moments of a goal, perhaps maybe an idea or a memory, like we just said, or we may experience it if we think about a beautiful sunset. One that just takes you think about it and your first words are, it took my breath away. You know, I was just so peaceful with that. Or maybe it was holding your baby for the very first time. and just the wonder of how did this little person come to be? You know, just those moments. Or maybe the first time you fell in love. Oh, yeah, those moments where you can't sleep because you're so involved in this moment of being and breathing and taking it all in, that oneness just, it grabs your attention and it holds you there for a moment, for as long as you want it to, right? It's amazing. So we become one, maybe with our experience, maybe we become one with our goal, maybe we become one with a memory or something that touches our heart. And most often, it is something that touches our heart that causes that feeling of oneness. And there, it just is. There's no words to describe oneness, but you know when you're in it, and you know when you're not, right?
And I have some, and there will be those who may not believe in it, that we're connected, or that there's a oneness, and I think it is another faculty of ourselves that you can deny, but it's there for me undeniably, because in October of 1973, my now deceased wife gave birth to twins, one of which was stillborn. When the child's name is Lisa, and she's buried in a Catholic cemetery, which MP and I recently visited to spruce up the headstone and place a pinwheel by the headstone, and we put a solar light there that shone down on it. And her birth occurred almost 5 decades ago. And I continue to experience a sense of oneness with that child when standing at a headstone. And it comes in a form of vague memories of the day she and her sister who survived were born, and a sadness that is present, and yet I can't really describe it, except to say there's a connectedness there.
Yeah, I remember the first time that we went together to visit the cemetery there, and I stood with you. And it was complete silence. A lot of tears, and I felt connected to you and to her, and I didn't even know her.
Yeah, there's no other word to describe it to me except oneness. And pardon me, why would I want to place a pinwheel and a solar light on a 40-some-year-old headstone other than a connectedness with that child and with that day? And quite frankly, I don't think of her frequently, just on occasion, and sometimes kind of pains of memories, but to me it's just a perfect description of another form of oneness, of which there are many.
Yeah, and now when we go, it's more of a happy occasion, because it's like we're back, and there's almost like this inaudible conversation that you have with her. You know, when we prune things away and we clear it off and we dust everything apart, so it's like you're ready now. You know you're loved, and we're holding you together, and so I enjoy going to do that with you. I really do.
Thank you.
Because I feel that connection.
Absolutely.
And so we get like a little triangle there of special moments.
Of oneness, yeah.
We do. It's pretty cool. And oneness is also, it's the center of the Buddhist teachings. It is. It's the harmony of all people, no matter what their race or their sex or even their hometown. The Buddhist practices oneness through observing their environment and thinking about it deeply. They may look at a piece of paper and think about a cloud, Because without that cloud, the tree would never have grown to make that piece of paper. They may think about, the steel mill. Why a steel mill? Because if there weren't saws or tools, that tree could never have gotten chopped down to make that piece of paper. And what about oatmeal? Oatmeal. Think about a piece of paper, or shouldn't you think about oatmeal with that paper? Well, the lumberjacks that did all this had to eat breakfast of some kind. Maybe it wasn't oatmeal, but they had to eat breakfast of some kind. So all of these pieces, all of these events come together for the goal of one piece of paper. And that one piece of paper has traveled a long way to become what it is. And aren't we in the process of traveling to become what we are? Into the oneness of being part of that spirit within us, that it's naturally occurring. But it's just, it's amazing to think about that. When I read that, I'm like, wow, that's a really neat way to look at things. What if I did that with other things in my environment? Well, how did that get there? Where did it come from? Who walked this way to plant that tree?
We're always moving from one form of oneness to another and not even knowing it, in a sense. Yeah.
And it reminds me of when, back in 2011, when we moved from when we moved from Crystal Lake to here, that sense of the amount of energy and the number of pieces that had to come together to make that happen. That day that we moved here was an act of oneness. There were 100 people that descended upon this little itty bitty Mason's building to move everything that is part of this ministry out into this building. 100 people. And the energy, I remember that day, the energy was incredible. People were bouncy, they were smiling. It's like, what can I do next? Where do you need help? It happened. It was no small feat. There's a lot to undo and pack up for a church. It was done in 2 hours, from start to finish, bringing it here. And everything that needed to be in the right places had to go there. And we even had a potluck afterwards.
We did.
We did.
That's a oneness.
That was a oneness story.
celebration.
It was an incredible day, and people talked about it for a long time afterwards because we had such a strong vision. We took 3 years. It was 3 years.
3-year capital campaign, yes. Yeah.
We visioned it for 3 years before we made it happen. And everyone was so invested that there was no doubt that this was going to happen. And I know from experience for myself, when I'm in that zone, when I'm in that oneness with what the purpose that I have in mind, there is no other thing that's going to happen except for what I'm seeing. Because I have not entertained any other doubts.
And I saw clear evidence of that the last couple of days.
Yes, you have.
Marypatriece was painting. We have a family room that needed some sprucing up and some lightening up. And so you painted an entire wall, and then you painted all the trim white.
Oh, yeah.
For the last 2 days, you have been so focused on the oneness of that project, and what I sense is the vision of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Not so much that thrilled about painting, but thrilled about the outcome that you were going to enjoy, and we were all going to enjoy. And it looks fabulous, and it's just such a great example of what we say is, wherever you want to go, feel it, smell it, live it, and you'll be there. And like you were feeling it and living it before it was ever painted.
I
you were just focused on that task.
You didn't want to get in the way.
Well, that too. I was going
you
to
were
leave that
very
out.
smart. You kind of stayed out of that.
Oh, I'm still painting? I think I'll go do something else.
You did. Yeah, but I did. I had the picture of, it's like, I want this. This will be done. This will be done. And my goal was to finish it before my daughter came. And it was done.
And when we have a oneness with like our vision, then all the tasks that have to occur on the way to that vision,
Exactly.
they're not work. They're like just part of the vision, and you're already living the vision while you're doing it. So
And you know the side benefit of it is?
what?
When you're that focused, you don't think about food. You would pop in, are you ready for lunch? Not really. I've got a mission. That's a
So,
good thing.
another example of the various kinds of oneness, and I'll continue my story about our visit to the cemetery
absolutely.
also, okay? Because after completing the spruce up of the headstone and some quiet reflection time, we decided to take a stroll through that area of the cemetery. And that particular area that holds Lisa is dedicated solely to children. And as we walk, we'd notice the dates on the headstones, like June 1st to June 4th of the same year. And kind of quiet monuments to tiny lives lived for a tiny degree of time. And upon seeing those dates, I was wondering about the stories behind them. What about the parents and the grandmas and the grandpas and maybe the aunts and uncles and siblings, and what was that like for everybody? And so there was a connectedness there. And how could I feel that if there wasn't a oneness amongst all of us and between us, gazing out on an entire field of children's graves? And then as we continued our stroll, I noticed they had at one corner of an intersection a similarity amongst the headstones, and they were almost like regimented, the way they were placed in the ground.
It's almost kind of like a military.
Yeah, almost like you see in a
Cemetery, yeah.
military cemetery. And so I said, let's go see what that is. It is a family, and on closer examination, the names of the children on the headstones, but only a year, 1958. And I was perplexed. I said, what is this? And then I looked up, and I saw it. Some of you who go back a ways, especially if you're from the Chicagoland area, may remember December 1st, 1958. A fire broke out under a wooden stairwell at Our Lady of the Angels Elementary School, located in Humboldt Park in the Chicagoland area, shortly prior to classes being dismissed. Our Lady of the Angels was a large elementary school, 1,600 students. A total of 92 students and 3 nuns perished in that fire that day. MP and I had inadvertently come upon the memorial to that event. It's at Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois. And part of that memorial was some of the graves of the children. I had immediate flashbacks to that day in my life. I remember watching TV, and back then the newspapers were a huge source of information. So watching the TV newsreels and front page pictures of big burly firemen, tear-filled, emotional, carrying out lifeless bodies of children from that burning structure. The magnitude of the loss was overwhelmingly apparent even to my 13-year-old psyche at that time. And there, standing at that memorial, I felt a connectedness to the day it happened. I mean, I was there again. And to the firemen and the children, as I gazed upon their pristinely maintained headstones. And a touching memorial that commemorated that just gut-wrenching day. So I will say very clearly, the only word that can describe that feeling is oneness. And I believe it's there amongst all of us.
I agree. That was a big day.
Oh boy.
We both just stood there, kind of in awe. There's just moments where you feel that awe. And you never know sometimes when it's going to happen. Sometimes you do. But when you experience it, it's so important to just take the moment and let it happen and take it in. Let it just absorb into every cell of your body and send out the love that you know those people or places or things need. I mean, love encompasses everything. Everything benefits from love, whether it's living or whether not.
And maybe that is love.
It is.
What we talk about. Maybe that is love. That
Mhm.
oneness and that connectedness.
Absolutely. And we know that we can choose those moments too. Sometimes they happen to us, but we can choose those. Even like today, we get to make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Today we get to make the choice to celebrate oneness, to be in the moment, to support each other, to share the time together. Because the truth is, you know, in all the stories that I can think of where people have mentioned something that was so meaningful for them, it's the time that someone took, the time that they took with them, just to be there, not necessarily to tell them what to do or how to think, but just to be there. And today we have that opportunity again.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're going to be out there today after the service, after our Zoom meeting, we're going to be out front, just being the presence and holding the presence for others. Opening that door for that experience of oneness and sharing that we're here to support that. We're here to support each other. We're here to be one with the goal of understanding and connecting and knowing that we are here together. And this is the goal of our living, is really to be that connection for each other and for ourselves and with our higher power.
So we'll be connecting with the Gay Pride Promenade today. Is that at noon?
Yep, it's
or
at
are
noon.
we not sure?
It's at noon.
Okay.
It is at noon.
Good.
And so wherever you are, even if you're not here, even if you just spend moments thinking about it and putting that into your consciousness, you're going to be able to experience the oneness of what this is all about. So today, let's celebrate oneness in whatever form it takes. Let's be the oneness, that we're in it for that goal, that dream, that vision, and when it's all in sync, let it transform us into something even better than we can even imagine.
And so it is.
And so it is. We are one. Let's turn it over to Lori.
Let's do that.
The song is called We Are One by Robert Anderson. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. change and take that journey to the heart. You are my brother and you are my sister, and not one of us can live apart. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. Involve yourself, it's time to begin for the healing of this earth. Many small steps here and millions of feet now can carry everybody to rebirth. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. We are one. We are one. And as you take yourself, give back to someone else. All the people here belong. Tear down illusion and show off the truth now. Till you and I we sing a worldwide song. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. Every woman, every man, every boy and girl. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one.
How are you? Good.
Ready for a great day.
I'm
Another
ready.
great day.
I am too. It's been an amazing morning. We are one. And we have our own sign for We Are One up front today. So I'm grateful that everyone will be here. And if you're here in heart, you know that you feel that oneness too. So grateful. The opportunity here to have that feeling happens so regularly. That's why I love coming back. Would you say?
Oneness is not birthed here, but we are reminded of it here on a regular occasion, that's for sure.
I agree. Okay, so let's go ahead and close out. Remember, we have a Zoom meeting after this. If you're able to join us, please text that you'd like to join and we'll get that information to you. Thank you for joining us. We're going to finish out with our prayer for protection. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
The
light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.